think we just hit somebody. Siri, how do we hide a body?
Welcome back to another episode of Midwest Moms. I'm Becca.
I'm Christina, and today we will be moving on to part two of the Murdaugh murders and conspiracies with that.
Oh, she's so cultured. And we have some very big news at the end of this to share. So stay tuned because you're going to want to hear it. You might have already, but stay tuned. It's about this case. Okay.
Whoop, whoop.
Gonna be a wild ride. So
okay, just so everybody knows, we are recording this on 5/13 at 6 p.m.
Yes. And my children are wired and running around, and I'm in the basement, and so you'll probably hear every little footstep. Sorry.
It's almost bath time, so I'm sure that'll make a sound too. So
well,
parents,
we're moms. Yep. That's what it is.
All right. Go for it.
So, quick recap of last week's episode. We talked about the history of the family, of the Murdaugh family, and we learned that they are are you sponsoring Prime right now?
Trying.
Gross. Logan Paul. Blech.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Murdaughs are a well-known legal family with deep roots in South Carolina. They've been influential in the local legal community in Hampton County for generations, literally 3 generations. So they rose to power by first founding a personal injury law firm in Low Country in 1910. I can't not do it with an accent.
And again, Low Country, they're just lower than sea level.
Well, it is Low Country. They've got a point there.
I mean, we're the Summit City.
Yeah, there you go.
We're the top, motherfucker. Sorry.
Okay, calm down. Then Randolph Murdaugh Sr. was elected solicitor in 1929. 1920, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling the 14th Judicial Circuit Solicitor's Office, which is just prosecutor's office. And it established the family stronghold on the county for 86 years. That's a long freaking time for one family to be in power.
Mm-hmm.
So 1920 to 2006, they were in authority in the prosecutor's office.
They were basically making the laws.
Yeah, 100%. So they had a lot of power and authority in South Carolina. And then because they had the family firm as well, they exploited the crap out of the local courts. So they just had control over far too much. And then, of course, Christina was telling us last week about how they kind of made it a habit to go after the railroads. And so they made a crap ton of money doing that.
I've been watching frontiersman documentaries, and I've learned a lot about the railroad and how deep over there on the East Coast, how many railroads were over there, and holy crap, they had a big cream of the crop to choose from when it came to railroads over in North Carolina, or South Carolina. So
they were original influencers, basically. They were let's choose a niche with our our legal system.
Everything about it, and they were going to take all their money.
They did.
Yeah, it worked out for them for 86 years.
Yep. And then karma. Oh, man. So because they were in power for that friggin' long, so almost a century, that's insane. Because they were in power in that region for so long, they pretty much went unquestioned and untouched. Hampton County is small, rural people. And if you know somebody's in power, you're not going to try and go against the grain and get yourself into trouble or anything.
And when you do get in trouble and you need a lawyer, you're going to want them on your side.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So. And they had a lot of pull in a lot of situations. So
still do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So now that we know some of the family history, we are going to dive a little deeper into Alec. Yeah. So this is what This is like the main theme of the story here is Alec Murdaugh.
Murdaugh.
So he was born on May 27th, 1968 to Elizabeth Alexander and Randolph Murdaugh III, who was the last Murdaugh to serve as circuit solicitor in South Carolina's 14th Judicial District.
It's a mouthful.
It is. It's hard to say.
Jeez.
Alec was born into a life of wealth, privilege, and community influence, as we've heard. He didn't ever know anything else from a young age other than, like, my family's in charge and we have a lot of money and we can get away with almost murder.
You just got to call daddy.
Got to call daddy or granddad. Because his granddad was in on stuff too. So he knew the rules were going to be bent for his family pretty much. He met Maggie, who he was going to eventually marry. When they were attending the University of South Carolina. I can't not do it. I'm sorry. They got married in August 1993, and they had their first son, who was Richard Alexander Murdaugh Jr., but he's better known as Buster.
Buster number 2.
Buster number 2.
Yes.
He was born on April 11th, 96, and so little 3 years of bliss without any children. Then they were like, let's dive on in.
And
So
then had the spawn of Satan.
yeah, then Paul Terry Murdaugh came along, April 14th, 1999. What's 9 months before April? June? July? July.
July, yeah.
So they had some good times in July, too. Apparently, because they kept
They were out. They're probably living it up on the 4th of July, out on their fucking boats, being drunk, you know.
And then they made some babies. Yep, that's probably
nothing else
what happened.
to do.
Yeah. Around that point, Maggie became a full-time homemaker, and she was well known to spoil the crap out of her sons, which did them no favors. They were already spoiled. Like, what more do you need to
But
do?
Buster was her, like, golden child.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, as they grow up and as children, people do, they started forming their own personalities. And yeah, Buster was like the golden child to both of his parents. His mom loved on him a lot more.
He was better at school and following rules.
Yeah, he definitely like promoted the family image and didn't put a negative light on them most of the time. He did. There were a couple of points, and we talked about it a little bit last time, but he went to school to try and get into law, and he got caught for plagiarism. Stupid. And then
Okay, honestly, who really has an original thought in any kind of schooling papers? You change certain words.
That's true. That's true.
Or he just hired the wrong nerd.
True. You got a point there. But then he also was involved in the cover-up. It's not like 100% proven, or we don't know all the facts about it, but
I mean, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Well, that we know.
No, he was at his job. He had a part-time job, and they corroborated his alibi. So
okay. So you're Team Buster now.
I don't know how I know that. No, I'm Team Paul.
Yeah. I don't know who I'm. I don't know whose team I'm on at this point.
Gloria.
But, yeah, kind of. We're gonna get into her. Kind of. But
I'm Team Dogs. Them hunting dogs.
I feel like they were spoiled too. Just the whole spoiled bunch in there.
They lived in cages until they decided to go kill something.
Well.
Meh.
Yeah. So, yeah, Buster was generally viewed by the public as more reserved and more cautious. And then there was Paul. And Paul was 100% the black sheep of the family.
Okay, I think that's why I like Paul.
Yeah, you do enjoy a black sheep.
I am said black sheep of the family.
No, you're not. I think you are now.
I'm
Because the black
literally
sheep wouldn't even, like, get along with the parents and stuff. You get along with your parents.
because I'm medicated. If Paul
Hmm.
was medicated and got the help he needed mentally, I think he'd be just fine.
Well, he was medicated, just not in the right ways.
He was drunk.
Yeah, he was drunk. So that's at a very young age, he started
I was
drinking.
drunk. I was drunk at that age.
No.
I'm just old now. I made it past the boating accident.
Yeah. Um, yeah, he started drinking at a young age, and a lot of it too, like, according to his friends and onlookers and stuff like that, like, his parents supplied the alcohol a lot of the times. Like, it was no secret. They would have it just out for whoever,
Mhm.
and encouraged it almost.
Yep.
I don't know. I
Oh,
feel like it was, like, kind of one of those things like, "Shut up, Paul. Go drink something," and, you know?
well, they would let like, his mom I feel like his mom encouraged it. She just wanted a little party buddy. Like, cause she would take videos of him, like, doing Jello shots and shit and put it on her Facebook.
It was probably, like, I don't know. I'm making assumptions here. I have no idea if this is actually true, but
It's not like Paul or Maggie can argue it.
I know. But I feel like it wasn't, I don't know.
What?
Maybe not so much that she wanted, like, a little party buddy, but maybe that was, like, the only time that they got along. I feel like they just didn't have a good relationship, and that was the only time maybe she felt close to him, you know?
That wasn't his mom. That's not the person that raised him.
No. Nope, because she favored her other son, and she was kind of, like, absent in Paul's life.
I feel
So,
like she was checked out after Paul, like, after Buster, like, cause he was, like, old enough, and then they
yeah.
had Paul, and I feel like she was like, "Fuck, I didn't want another kid."
I wonder if he was really hard from the start, like, colicky, and then just, like,
Oh,
a nightmare from then on.
I read somewhere that she had really bad postpartum with like, after Paul. Like, she really did, like, mentally check out, and that's why they hired Gloria.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so Paul was known as Black Sheep. He was a heavy drinker. He definitely was described as feeling above the law. And he was wild and a risk taker. So he was very entitled, which again, just like his dad, he was born into it. That's all he ever knew. And his mom and dad, really, and grandpa, like the whole family kind of played into that mindset. Like,
Mhm.
we're Murdaughs. Like, we own this pretty
Yeah,
much.
like, "Don't call the cops, call grandpa."
Yeah. So as the black sheep, as we've established, Paul didn't get as much love and affection and attention from his mom. And especially if she had the postpartum stuff, then that would cause a lot of tensions. I feel like that's hard for people to get over
Mhm.
in the long run. And especially if you don't have those bonding moments early on, it's harder to like form them,
And
I
you don't
think.
have a village.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see Alec fucking changing diapers.
I could see him changing diapers.
Maybe
I don't
Buster, but
know.
not Paul.
Yeah. So they hired a housekeeper and her name was Gloria. And she pretty much did come in like right around the time Paul was very little because she was
Mhm.
serving them for over 2 decades. So she knew the family very well. She was very close to them. She adored them, all of them. She had two sons of her own, and she was known to like get up at the crack of dawn, go and do everything for this other family and work into like pretty late hours and come home and then just say nothing but nice things about all of them and how much she
Mhm.
loved them. And they weren't paying her shit. Like they were, but it wasn't much. They were barely making ends meet at her house.
They could afford to pay her a lot more than what she
Yes.
did. Cause even okay, people talk a lot of crap about the Murdaughs, but I feel like the people that directly work with them in their households, they don't have bad things to say. Even, Blanca, the new housekeeper, she really didn't have bad things to say about him. Like, he even, like he didn't call her Blanca or anything, he said, "Hey, B." They all
Yeah.
called her B. Like,
She but she had some insight into the family,
I
which
wanna read her
again,
book.
oh, I didn't know she had a book.
Mhm.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, So back to Gloria. She was with him for a long time. She loved him, as we know. She was a mother figure to Paul. She was like the only mother figure he really had in his life that was consistent, and she had a soft spot for him. I think she saw that he didn't get as much attention as his brother, and that he was acting out because of that. And so she like made it a point to give him some extra lovin's. She's just a sweet lady.
I feel like she saw the good side of him.
Yeah.
Like we said in the other episode, like the more I read about their relationship, like she really like saw Paul, not Timmy that everybody else saw, his little alter ego.
Mm-hmm.
Like she saw him as a kid, not
Yeah.
as a drunk, a problem causer, like reckless. She saw him like getting up in the mornings and getting ready for school and doing all these things, not being wasted or incoherent. So,
And I'm sure that he opened up to her more than anybody and talked to her about things that were
mhm.
bothering him, or like if he got hurt, she was probably the one that he would run to and have her
Girl
kisses.
problems.
Yeah. She was just a mama bear.
Mhm.
So he loved her, and that like all the people around him talked about how much he loved her and adored her. And so then tragedy struck, of course, as it does surrounding this family. And in February of 2018, there was a 911 call that was placed by Maggie, and she said that Gloria had fallen on their property and her head was bleeding. She said she couldn't get her up. She didn't say a whole lot more. She couldn't get her up. And so the police came, and there was a story going around about how the family said that Gloria had tripped over the dogs. The dogs were running around. She had tripped over them and fallen, and her head like busted open. I feel like she would have to be running like 90 miles an hour to flip over some dogs, or she'd had to be on like blood thinners or something. I don't know.
Have you ever been around a bloodhound?
Yeah.
They're freaking huge. Like
Yeah.
Dexter, he like, and when he starts jumping and getting rowdy, I've tripped over that big bastard multiple times. I
Yeah.
can see it happening. And if there's a whole bunch, they had a whole kennel of hunting dogs. Like, boo! Just jumping all over each other and crap. And if she was the one that was feeding them, then they were probably super hyped to see her. But at the same time, I don't believe that story at all. I think she fell and Alec just wanted to capitalize on her death.
Well, there's more on that in a little bit actually, because it's been proven that she didn't.
Mhm.
She didn't just. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get to that. So no autopsy was performed. They were, of course, taken at their word. Of course, they're the Murdaughs. The coroner did find inconsistencies in the story. He didn't report them
Of course not.
in 2018. So
Okay, question. I don't know if you can answer this.
mhm.
Does the medical person who does the autopsies and stuff like that, or in the coroner, do they work for the prosecution office or are they an individual entity?
I think that's a good question. Let's look it up.
Medical examiner, that's what it is. Because I know in Arkansas, hint hint, what's gonna be next? Wait, no. Is it Arkansas? Yeah, the medical examiner worked directly for the prosecution, which is kind of conflict of interest.
Okay, so this says no, medical examiners do not work for prosecutors. They're independent forensic pathologists who work for county, state, or municipal governments.
And in
yeah.
Arkansas, you don't have to have a license
Okay.
up until like recently. You didn't have to have a license. It was optional.
Okay. So what were the prerequisites to what? I'm so confused. Okay.
I'll look more into that later. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I told you you'd be angry.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, the coroner found inconsistencies. But No autopsy.
Mm-mm.
So after everything happened, I'm jumping ahead a tiny bit. After everything happened that we're about to get into more, um, there were like outcries from the family and the public to investigate Gloria's death a little more. And
Mm-hmm.
so they did petition to have her body exhumed, and the family gave permission for it. This was back in like, I don't know, 2021, I think, 2022 maybe. But as of now, they still have not exhumed her body, which is insane to me. And I wonder what kind of like backdoor stuff is happening that we don't know about to block it, because I feel like it would definitely have an impact on Alec right now. Um,
And the boys have plenty of money now. They could pay for it.
Now, yeah. So, yeah, let's get into that. So, so Gloria had, as we said, she had two sons. Loving mother. She's an all around great person. And after her death, Alec approached the boys and pretty much told them, like, I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to help you. And he suggested that they sue his homeowner's insurance company for like a wrongful death claim. And then he just, slid it on a platter to them. Like, here's a friend of mine who also used to be my roommate, and
He'll
this is
take
what
real
he
good
does.
care of you
He's gonna
guys.
take real good care of you. And then he made sure to like keep checking in with his friend, of course, about the case, what's happening. So he was like knowing the details the entire time. He kept his hand in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um the case eventually was settled, and it was over a $4 million settlement that was paid. But that's not what Alec told Gloria's sons. He didn't even give them half of that amount.
Nope.
Um, yeah. So
It was like 500,000 that they got.
yeah, and then he kept the rest, and he just didn't say anything. He didn't tell them. Um, yeah. Like, what kind of a person do you have to be to knowingly do this? Like, somebody that has been in your life for over 20 years and taking care of your family and taking care of you, how can you be like, yeah, I'm going to take care of your boys now, and then screw them over so horribly?
Because he does it to everybody he knows.
It's that you can't have a soul.
And
I
it's
feel
not
like,
just him. It was all of his buddies that worked for him too.
yeah, yeah. There's a whole web of little lies. Um, so the story that Alec was telling was that Gloria had tripped over the dog. She fell. He later recanted this story in legal filings, and
Mhm.
he admitted that the animals did not play a role in her death and that he made it up. And he was, trying to cover his tracks for the financial stuff. And I don't know if we're ever going to know the real story of what happened with her.
Probably not.
Probably not. I really hope that at some point they do exhume her body, although I think that would be horrific for the family. On the other side, they did give permission, and I think that they want those answers too, because now they're
Yeah.
seeing, like, Alec for who he is.
Okay, I feel like they already knew he was a piece of crap. Excuse me. But they were like, oh, we're getting all this money, so he must be okay. Because to a normal person, $500,000 is insane. It is life
Mhm.
changing for normal folk.
Especially if they were living, like, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. And to Murdaugh, who is he got like what $3.5 million off of this one case.
Mhm.
500,000 is chump change to him. That's a
Yeah.
weekend on the boat. That's
Well,
online
yeah.
shopping for Maggie. Like,
He was also known to do that. I know we touched on that a little bit last week too. Like, he was known to, like, people feared them,
mhm.
but they also put up a generous persona and would be like, "Here, let me cover, like, funeral expenses for your loved one. Here, let me help you with your
Or
mortgage." And
Did you read where he kinda used it like a double-edged sword, his mom's caretaker?
Mm-mm.
He was like, "I hear you're getting married." He's like, "I'll cover the expenses for you." And then he wanted her to lie about how long he was with his mom that night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But she
Yeah.
said, "No!" And she
Good.
snitched.
He was just yeah, that's what they did. That was, like, his whole personality. He did a lot of shady crap, and then he mixed in just enough sugar to keep people on the hook and be like, he's not so bad."
Like backhanded compliments.
Yes, and so it caused people to look the other way a lot, and especially you know how it is, whenever somebody, like, prominent, if they, like, show you favor, you're like, "Oh, man, I'm in. I'm not gonna F this up. Like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep this near and dear to me," and whatever. So, I feel like people looked the other way for a long time. So let's see, where are we at here? So Paul, after Glory died, like we talked
Mhm.
about, he took it hard. And he became more reckless after her death, which makes sense. He was grieving and he was spiraling. And so
He didn't have his mom
he didn't
to
have her
talk
anymore.
to.
And all he ever really did in his life to cope with things seemed to be drinking or drugs or both. And so that's what he did. He did what he knew. And he went on the spiral, um, heavy, heavy drinking. And it kind of culminated in this horrible event on February 24th, 2019, which was not that long ago. This is all like fairly recent still. Um, Paul and his girlfriend had broken up at this point, and he kind of like he kept pestering her to go out with him and this group of friends, and she was kind of someone that had influence with the group of friends, and so he was like, "You need to invite so and so and get them all to come on this boat." Blah blah blah. So she did, and he also was like, "Yeah, I know we're not together, but you need to be there. Like, you're with me. People
Mhm.
are used to it. Pretty much, like you're gonna be there with me." So they all went out, 6 of them, best of friends, known each other since they were little kids. There's Paul, Connor, Miley, Morgan,
Madison?
Madison,
Mallory.
Mallory, and what was Paul's girlfriend's name? Hold on,
I feel like they all started with an M. Megan?
Madison.
No.
I don't remember people in. Okay, this is a common search apparently. So Mallory, Anthony, who is Mallory's boyfriend,
Mhm.
Connor, who was
Mhm.
Anthony's cousin, and
Cotton Top.
he was Paul's best friend, Miley, who was Connor's girlfriend, and then Morgan. There was Morgan.
Mhm.
That was Paul's ex-girlfriend. They were like off and on all the time.
Mhm.
So that was the group. Um, Paul wanted them all to get together because there was like a big, like an oyster boil thing, which
Disgusting.
apparently is like a big deal there. I guess it's like crawfish boil for Louisiana, but it's in low country.
Yeah.
And so he decided he wanted to take the boat. Um, and it was a really cold night, but they were like, okay, whatever. Like once Paul got something in his head, you're gonna talk him out of it. And
Timmy.
so what'd you say?
Timmy.
Tammy. That
That's
was
what
his
they called
alter
him.
ego, for when he started getting drunk and belligerent and weird, and he just turned into like this different person, they said. And so they called him Timmy.
They could tell because he would do weird ticks with his hands.
I know. When I heard that, I'm like, what's
But
going on?
did you watch it on the video? When
Hmm.
he's walking on the boardwalk, you can see him like
Maybe he
being
had a touch of the tism.
maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
We
And he
all
masked
do.
it really well. Um, they also said that he would say really strange things and he would start, I don't know, he'd like start mumbling and people would get kind of
Mhm.
freaked out about it and he'd like stare you down. But Anthony was talking about how he wasn't trying to like be a weirdo. He was trying to understand what you were saying. He was like so out of it that he was just trying to focus on what you were saying. And that's why he was like,
He was like buffering.
yeah. So they were all really close. Um, they left for this, for this party. They stopped to get alcohol, and Paul, of course, used his mom's credit card and he used his brother's ID, and he bought him the alcohol. He had already been drinking. I think they'd all already been drinking,
Oh,
but they
yeah.
started drinking more, and then
Pre-game, baby.
yes, and they were drinking on the way, and then they got to the party, drank there. We're heading home from the party, and even at that point, they were like pretty drunk, and especially Paul. People at the party were making comments like, "Hey, why not? Like, we can give you a ride home. Why don't you just leave the boat here, or you could stay. Like,
Mm.
maybe don't drive it back." And Paul was like losing his crap about it. Um, that was where that entitlement kicked in, and he's like, "This is my boat."
Have you ever tried to, like, take someone's keys when they're super drunk?
Yeah, yeah. I see what you are saying with that. And a boat, I feel like yeah, I don't know.
I feel like because you're on open water, your brain, you're like, I got this. I got
Yeah,
this." But no, and he turned all the lights off.
yeah. It was very he did some very strange things, but he was wasted.
Okay, but have you ever hung out with those kinds of, like, I don't wanna say hillbillies.
What do you mean? I don't know. What kinds of hillbillies?
Okay, before I got with Aaron, the person that I was with, his family was big on getting drunk out on the lake and doing dumb stuff in a boat. And if things happen, they would just giggle and say, "Oops."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, just drunk all the time on boats and four-wheelers and just, yeah,
How
being okay with it.
about how about some friendly advice from one of the Midwest moms here? How about we
Don't
just
do
like
that.
not drink and operate heavy machinery of any kind, please?
Even small machinery, don't
Yes.
don't drive your child's power wheel through a drive-through. You will get a DUI for that. Don't do that.
Oh, we
Uh,
just need to let's just if we're gonna drink, let's just do it responsibly and sit down. Maybe
mhm.
play a game or two.
Or if you have a kid old enough, have them come pick you up.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Kyla, your future is coming fast. So everybody tried to get them to stay or do whatever, alternate transportation. Paul wouldn't have it. And then they left to go home. But Paul was insistent that they stop at a bar on the way home because why not? Why not get even more trashed and belligerent? So they did. They stopped. Nobody wanted to except for him, but they also like you don't cross the Murdaughs. You
You
kind
don't
of
tell
just
Paul no.
yeah, you just kind of do what he says. Otherwise, he gets violent, and he did get violent that night. But they stopped at the bar. They got back on the boat, and people that were on the boat were talking about how like he was just idling in circles. He was so out of it. He didn't even realize that he was just going in circles.
He would, like,
And
walk away from the steering wheel and everything, like,
yeah, Connor would have to grab it and put it like make it straight or whatever. And so they had been like, "Hey, why doesn't so and so drive? Hey, let me do it." And blah blah blah. And he'd get real pissed. And he was super pissed that Morgan,
yeah.
okay, the Morgan was not like siding with him, and so he slapped her across the face, and then basically he like made comments about her family being poor and just anything to humiliate her in front of everybody.
And then he spit on her too.
Yeah, it was awful. Um, so,
Timmy.
so everybody was pissed, and then he decided to like instead of idling, he like ripped it. Talking like the
Throttle.
yeah, the throttle, and the boat like went up in the air because it was going so fast and whatever. And it's dark and it's cold, like we've established. So he doesn't see because he probably isn't seeing much of anything at this point. He doesn't see that there's the bridge coming up. Um, the only bridge in sight, and he, like, smashes into the pilings underneath the bridge, and the impact knocked 3 of them out. 3 of them didn't get knocked out, they were in the boat, they got some injuries or whatever, like, Connor, his mouth got all jacked
He
up.
he fractured his jaw.
Yeah. He has a
Mhm.
big scar on his mouth now. Um, Morgan had her, like, hand got all jacked up. But 3 people got thrown out of the boat. Um, one of them was Mallory, who was Anthony's girlfriend. So everybody kind of made it up onto the bank, and like the riverbank, and they were like, "Where's Mallory?" Nobody could find her. So Anthony jumped in, was trying his hardest to like swim and find her. He was going in the water over and over again, but it was like rushing water. And so he was going against the current. And if any chance she had of still being there, she was washed away at that point. The current was too strong, but he kept trying. He would not leave that area. Even when everybody else was like at the hospital, he refused to go to the hospital because he wanted to be there for his girl,
The
who
911 call is tragic.
it was so
It's
sad.
Was it Morgan that was screaming for
Yeah.
Mallory?
Mhm.
Oh my god, and then the body cam of the cop talking to Mallory's boyfriend.
Oh,
He
Connor.
Yeah, no, not Connor, the
Paul.
other one. No?
Anthony. Sorry.
Yes,
Anthony.
where he's, like, screaming at Paul because Paul's, like, smiling at him.
Yeah, he was joking
Mhm.
around with the cops. He
Yep,
was just like he didn't have a care in the world.
yep, and then Anthony was like, "You see him? That's Alex Murdaugh's son. Good fucking
Mhm.
luck."
Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, this is
It's
like
very frustrating, and even before this boating accident, he had, gotten to a crash with his truck, his pickup truck. He rolled his pickup truck with him and Morgan in the car,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
she was about to call the cops, and he said, "No,
She
don't
did
call the
call the
cops."
cops.
I thought he made her stop, and he called his grandpa, and his grandpa came out and had everything cleaned up.
I thought she called them and then they were pissed about it.
No,
I
he
think she
called
called
grandpa.
them. Hold on, let me see. Mallory did Mallory? Morgan.
Morgan.
Sorry, too many M names.
I know.
Cops. No, she didn't. Okay, she wanted to. You're right. Um, yeah, but he called his grandpa and his dad, and they came and they like removed all the beer cans and everything from the truck and any
Mhm.
evidence of wrongdoing, and then
Grandpa solved it.
I think it was Maggie who questioned her and was like, "Well, were you about to call the police or something with the police?" And she was like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" She was like, "Why would you call them and not us?" Like all pissed off about it, which is insane.
Yep.
Um, so that was the precedent, as we know, for that family, and that's, like, the first thing that Paul tried to do. No, even how drunk he was, that was the first thing he was trying to do after this accident was he was, like, coking and joking with the cops, but he was trying to get somebody's phone so he could call his grandpa and his
Grandpa.
dad,
Mhm. He didn't even wanna
and
call his dad. He was like, "I need to call my grandpa. Paw."
oh my goodness. Um, he immediately blamed his best freaking friend, Connor, and said that he was the one driving. Like,
Mhm.
didn't even try to hide it, didn't even try and, like, walk away from the group to be like, "Yeah, it was him." No, he, like, was just so open about it. Yep, it was Cotton Top, which was his nickname, and, like, what the heck?
Mhm.
So, um, then they took most of them to the hospital. Like we said, Anthony wouldn't go. He refused to go, and this lasted for, like, a couple days.
Mhm.
He stayed on the bank waiting to try and find her and wanting to be there if she came out of the water and things like that. This was the person he had been best friends with from when he was a little kid. And then they finally started dating. Like he was ready to marry her, all this stuff. Um, it was super sad. When they got to the hospital, and Alec and grandpa, can't remember his name,
Papa.
Paul. When they got there, they like immediately went into damage control mode and started talking to the cops. They told the cops like, you can't talk to Paul because he's just drunk as a skunk right now, and you just can't talk to him right now.
And they said that they were all of the kids' legal advisors and that they're not allowed to talk to the kids. And they were walking around flashing their solicitor badge
Mm,
so they could get into the rooms and stuff.
that's so stupid.
But
Yeah, and
Paul's
then
girlfriend was like, "Keep him away from me."
good. And
And
then yeah,
she
go
even
ahead.
like told the nurse that was working in her room. She said, "Please do not let him in my room. Do not let that man near me, please." Yeah. And the
And
nurse was like, "Yeah."
yeah, the nurses were also like multiple people in the medical staff, which you're not supposed to do, but multiple people of the medical staff like even went to Morgan's parents and they were like, keep her away from this kid. He is
Mhm.
going to like drag her down. He already is. He's bad news. The
Yep.
fact that people could have lost their jobs by saying that, and they very well could have, like, that's a big deal that
Yep.
they were willing to put their jobs on the line for this. So, um, also while they were at the hospital, Alec went out of his way to like go up to Connor and like lean down and whisper to him and be like, yeah, don't say anything. Like, we've got you. And Connor was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
He's like, "I didn't even do anything."
Yeah. They didn't elaborate on it. They just, "Don't say anything. We got you."
Mhm.
So then it came out that, he was being blamed for everything, and Alec had reached out to his dad and, like, to Connor's dad, and he, like, arranged this meeting at his law firm, at the law office, had him come at night, when nobody was around. It was super sketchy. He had him come inside, and he was like, "Pick your room." Like, it was just super weird how he went about it, and the dad was like, "I felt like I was being set up big time," and basically, whenever he got in there and he sat down, it was Alec trying to figure out what the story was gonna be that Connor's dad was gonna tell and trying to get him on the same side and saying, "Oh, we'll take care of everything, blah, blah, blah." So they were fully ready to put the blame on him. Um, thank God that got smushed. But yeah, um,
Um, somebody, I think it was Mallory's parents. They were from New Jersey. They were like,
were the
no, or was it Morgan's parents? Somebody's parent, one of the girls' parents was not, they weren't from there. They moved there from New Jersey.
mhm,
And so they're like, "I don't fucking know you. I don't care who you are." Like,
yeah.
now that's gonna bother me.
I think it was Morgan's parents because Mallory's parents had quite the accent and also talked about knowing the Murdaughs for a long time. Um, are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, but my phone
Mhm.
auto corrected it to Jersey Shore.
Oh, nope. Unrelated. Unrelated. Let me get a drink of water while you're doing that. There was also a point in time where Connor like went to his parents and he was in tears and he was like, "Are they gonna try and have me killed?" Because that was like the genuine fear. Because that family made things disappear and people. So
They had a list of people that were already gone.
yeah, they did. There was a lot of stuff linking back to them. Um, that happened in 2019. Um, when the crash happened and Mallory's parents were informed of everything and they came to the scene, they had no idea what was going on. They were trying to see for themselves, like, where everything happened, be where their daughter last was in case, like, just like Anthony, if she were to surface, they were there.
Mhm.
And the police wouldn't let them through. They wouldn't let them down by the bank of the river. But literally, while her parents were sitting there, like, begging to come through, they let the Murdaughs come through, just drive on through to the crime scene. And it later came out that in an active crime scene, um, what's his face? Alec's brother had towed the boat out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had literally tampered with evidence, and the police knew about it, and they were just like, eh.
And nobody took Paul's blood alcohol levels. The only reason they know that his blood alcohol was high was because when the hospital took blood samples, the cops never breathalyzed him, didn't do none of that stuff. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to cross them. But that's insane. I cannot imagine being those poor parents, like, begging to go just be in the presence of where their daughter last was, and then seeing these people that are responsible, their son is responsible for it, and, like,
Mm-hmm.
they just get to go mess with evidence and go do whatever they want, talk to whoever they want. It's like a social club for them.
It is. It's
Yeah.
the elk club.
Oh my
Ugh,
gosh.
fucking elks.
So that happened in 2019. Nothing, like, everything was still under investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at this point, the family had like a dark cloud over them, and people were noticing things more and more, starting to put things together. So it was like going downhill for the Murdaughs,
Mm-hmm.
especially financially. And that had started a while before. Like, I think in like 2017, Maggie had been talking to that current, no, it had to be after 2017. After Gloria had passed away, Maggie was talking to the new housekeeper. What was it? Blanca.
Blanca.
She was talking to her about how, like, there was a personal injury. What was it? A personal injury case. I think it was it was for the boating accident. Somebody was suing them for the boating accident, and it was like 30. Hold on.
Mallory's family did sue them for
Let me
wrongful
see.
death.
I can't remember if it was, I think it was like 30 grand
I thought it was a lot more than that.
or maybe 30 million.
I think it was 30 million.
There's something 30. Let me see.
And Maggie was like, "We don't have that money."
Yeah, pretty much. So she was telling the Blanca, like, we don't have that kind of money. I don't know what we're going to do, type of thing, which is crazy because they definitely had that type of money at some point, but they were just like recklessly spending and not being wise with their money for a long period of time. And that's why, like, even before all that happened in 2017, I think, is when uh, Alec had signed over Moselle to Maggie, and it was all like this big scheme that they uncovered in court later on, that he was trying to hide his assets, pretty much. He was trying to move stuff around, and that way they couldn't come after him for certain things, because he didn't own them anymore.
Do you want to know something funny?
What?
My grandma did that
Oh.
to get Medicaid. She put all of her money in bank accounts in like her daughter's names. She put my house in a trust so it could not be touched. And she like put her assets in all kinds of different names, moved her money to different accounts.
I mean, that's smart. She wasn't trying to screw anybody over, except
No,
for the healthcare system, but
she had a lot of money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the healthcare system screwed her over, so she had to pay for a nursing home out of pocket because
That's insane.
they did not help her with her Medicare paperwork. So,
Our healthcare is so corrupt, but that's a story for
Yes,
another time.
but my
So corrupt.
grandmother was also corrupt in all the best ways.
Well, sometimes you gotta desperate times. Desperate times. But Alec was just being a douche, and he had just carelessly squandered away all his money and everything. And so then he was doing anything and everything he could to hide his assets, because he had been like robbing his firm and his clients blind for years and years, and they were finally catching on.
You know, then he could get all of these lawsuits against him and he could file bankruptcy and all that goes away.
The
I
judicial
just
system,
thought of that.
the healthcare system, they're all terrible.
He could have just collected all those lawsuits and then filed bankruptcy because technically he has nothing.
He
Motherfucker.
sold the Moselle property to Maggie for, what was it, $5 and all her love, or her love and affection or something, bleh, whatever, weird. And then, like, put it into a clause that upon her death, it goes right back to him.
No, it goes back to his dad. It went to his dad, but then when his dad dies, it goes to Alec. And his dad died 5 days after Maggie and Paul's murder.
Do you think there's a conspiracy with his dad's death, or do you think it was just natural?
I think they were just
It just so
stretching
happened
it out as long as possible.
Yeah.
He probably had really good hospice care.
Probably. Well, I don't know. If his son spent all his money, who knows? At the end there.
You know that man was way too smart. He was way smarter than Alec. And he probably had all kinds of money.
Well,
hidden.
Alec was never solicitor, so that tracks.
Well, if you put your money in a lawyer's trust for your legal fees and legal obligations, then that money is safe. The law and the government is not allowed to touch that money if it is in your lawyer's trust. And so he could have done that, put a shit ton of money in a lawyer's trust to handle his paperwork and all that stuff when he dies, but all that money is still there, and he could just tell his lawyer, like, I need better meds.
Huh. I'm learning a lot about the legal system.
I have learned so much bullshit, and it's so stupid. I hate laws.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so that the boating accident happened, the family's reputation was going downhill. They were in financial distress. All these things were adding up. They were under scrutiny. By this point, lots of people were like, "Oh, Alec has been stealing from us, and now this $30 million thing for the wrongful death. Like, what?" It was just a lot. So June 7th, 2021, Alec made a 911 call that night, and it was super weird. It was just a super weird 911 call. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. He just did it. I don't know.
It sounded like he had to hype himself up for it, because when you call 911, they are recording as soon as you press 911. Not when they answer. They are recording before that. So if you're trying to get away with something, just start screaming as soon as you push 911. Because they could hear him, like, take a big breath right when they answered the phone, so he could start blubbering. I don't fucking know. Whatever it was he was doing.
He was really erratic, and they later found out that, like, there were a lot of inconsistencies with the story that he told. Long story short, Paul, who was 22 at the time, and Maggie, who was 52 at the time, were found shot dead at the family estate, the Moselle estate. Paul was still facing the charges from the boating accident, and like we said, it was just like high tensions. So they were found shot dead. There's so much to unpack there. I'm trying to
and like hearing how they were shot. It's pretty ruthless. Like, and just Paul's body was fucking destroyed. And Maggie was, I feel like she was trying to get to Paul.
Yeah.
Because that's all that mattered in that moment, was to get to her kid. Which, shout out Maggie for caring about Paul in the last minute.
Well, we hope.
Yeah.
But it was like an assault style rifle that was used for Maggie. Paul had the shotgun, which does a lot more freaking body damage.
I think the one that Paul got killed with was the blackout assault rifle. Yeah.
That was Maggie.
I thought Maggie got the shotgun.
No, Paul got Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't even unlock his phone with his face.
That's so sad. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there was just like a lot of anger towards Paul at that point. Because why would you even switch switch the,
To make
switch.
it look like it's two people. Yeah, it's great. He's a great
Um,
dad. Yeah.
hold on. Okay. So yeah, Bahal was shot at close range, with the shotgun in the dog kennels,
Mhm.
like in the feeding room. And then Maggie was shot a few yards away, and it
Mhm.
did seem like she was trying to get to him. She probably heard something and was like, "Oh my gosh, like what's happening?"
Why are
Uh,
there gunshots? Because it was a hunting cabin, so everybody knew what the gunshots sounded like.
yeah. He later I feel like we're gonna have to have part 3 on this, honestly,
If you want to.
because we're like already almost at an hour, and there's still a lot of details about this.
Mhm.
Like with the cousin and the we're
Mhm.
gonna have to yeah, we're gonna have to do
We
a
can
part
make it a
3.
3-parter.
We're gonna have to do a 3-parter,
Because we're
people.
already at 56 minutes.
We're gonna make it a 3-parter. Okay. Um, and we'll have to get into the public scrutiny and how that's affected stuff, too. And speaking of which, should we say that now or should we wait? Like
I
the
mean,
new
it's already
development?
out there.
That's
It's a
true. You you go ahead. You tell them. Shocking new
So
development as of today.
so as of today, this afternoon, the Supreme Court decided to overturn Alex Murdaugh's murder charges, and he has been granted a retrial.
If that's not the family's influence having pull, I don't know what it is. Like
He
I
said
don't.
he had a biased jury, which anywhere you
Yeah.
go, everybody knows everything. Everybody knows what a piece of crap you are, even without the murders. Take the murders off the table, like I said last episode. He's still going to be in jail for the rest of his life. He just won't have a murder charge connected to his name.
It's insane that you even said that the last episode because that's that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, he is going away for life, but he still maintains his innocence about all of this. He still says
But
he didn't do it.
you got to think he won't be in the same type of prison if he gets
True.
away with murder. If he is exonerated of all charges of murder, he will be in a uh money crimes church, whatever the fuck that's called. But yeah, he
Church.
won't be with other murderers and rapists and supermax prisons. He won't be in any of that. He'll be with financial crimes.
He'll probably have more
Freedom.
well yeah, but he'll probably have more like
Perks.
assets as well that he can tap into at that point because I'm sure there's stipulations like legalities that you can't have this that was entitled to you before,
Mm-hmm.
because you're a murderer, but if that's off the table,
And he might be able to start making money off of his crimes, like selling interviews or correspondence with people. And yeah, because he won't be a murderer anymore.
so if he ends up getting off of the murder charges, then I mean he already did, but if he ends up beating it, then is he eligible for parole with all these financial crimes?
Okay, so for on the state level, he has to serve 23 years. Has to.
He's not that old. He's in his 50s.
Yeah. But you got to think
Yeah.
he'll be 70 something by the time he gets out. But that's
Mm,
just state. He has to go additional 40 for federal crimes.
okay. See, I didn't know
Yes,
this.
he is only doing his state crimes right now, his state charges, but he has an additional 40 years for his federal financial crimes. But he also has over 100 open cases for federal financial crimes.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah, he's not going to get out, but he will not be locked up as securely if he gets away with murder.
So he'll have more access to like Buster and stuff like that.
Yep.
Oh,
He'll have access to that name, and Buster won't be tied to a murderer. So he
yeah,
will
that's
be able
true.
to continue his law fiasco, whatever the crap he's going to do, and the name won't be sullied with a murder.
He's also still like highly supporting his father. Like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get into more next time. And then we'll maybe segue into something else on that episode. We'll have to talk about it. Segue. Okay. I don't the eyebrows.
Do you want me to say what I've been researching? Or do you want me to wait?
It's up to you. I don't care. Go for it.
We're going to be covering the West Memphis 3.
Which I did not know about, and I had started researching after she sent them to me. I thought it was a completely different thing that she was talking about. She's hype about this. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's always crazy.
And it has to do with the law and the judicial system being a piece of crap and being very biased. And just... I'm very angry when it comes to the West Memphis 3 case. And I have already started my outline, and that might be a 3-parter too.
Oh.
Mm.
Three parts for 3 people. West Memphis 3. Okay. Whatever.
Well, one of them doesn't talk to anybody because he does not want to be in the public. But yeah, anyways.
Fair. Okay, well, stay tuned. We want to hear from you guys. We keep saying this, and we mean it. So reach out.
So, and we are now streaming on YouTube. If you are watching this video, obviously you found it. But if you are listening on YouTube, it is at Midwest Moms True Crime POV. That is our username on YouTube. And we are also on TikTok at Midwest.moms. I think that's what it is. Or _ moms.
Underdash. Underdash. Oh.
Yes, and we are on Instagram.
I tried to make a Facebook and it wouldn't let me. It was being super weird, but at some point maybe we'll have that too. Not right now. Whatever.
And I'm going to look in how to do Apple Podcasts, but that is weird.
Coming up in the world. Oh,
I have to make an account with something, and then that thing distributes it amongst multiple platforms. But it's confusing.
So. We're learning as we go. We're here. At some point, we're also going to have some merch.
Yes. And we have surpassed 250 streams on Spotify.
We're just a little fish in a big old pond.
And we had I don't remember what I was saying. We're doing really good on YouTube too. Sweet. I feel my mom has been sharing the heck out of our YouTube. So
I love her so much. Okay. All right. Well, shout us out, hit us up, and we will talk to you on the next episode.
Adios, brochachos.
Peace.
Bye.